They say love hits you when you least expect it. For me, love didn't arrive wrapped in fireworks or grand gestures. It came quietly, like a warm breeze on a tired soul, and it came from someone I should have never allowed myself to fall for. My name is Anna Carlton, and I'm 35 years old. I have a corner office in a skyscraper downtown. I make 6 figures. I dress in blazers and heels, and carry a black leather planner everywhere I go. On paper, I look like I have it all together, but no paper shows the loneliness that creeps in when the lights go out. I wasn't always like this. I used to believe in love. I even married young, but that marriage ended with more tears than I ever thought a human could cry. So, I swore off love. I buried myself in work and avoided anything remotely romantic until I met Leo. It was just another Wednesday. I had 3 meetings back to back and was mentally preparing for a client pitch that could make or break our quarter. I decided to duck into a local coffee shop before work. That's when I bumped into him, literally. He turned around too fast. I wasn't looking. The collision was a symphony of clattering mugs, apologetic gasps, and hot coffee soaking through my blouse. "Oh no, I'm so sorry," he said, instantly reaching for napkins. I looked up and froze. Messy brown hair, kind eyes, that boyish smile. He looked maybe 22, 23. "It's okay," I muttered, trying to pat myself dry with dignity. "Here, I'll pay for your dry cleaning. And a new coffee." His voice was sincere. His concern, genuine. I almost smiled. I stayed to sip my new coffee, mostly to calm my nerves. He sat 2 seats away, sketching in a worn notebook. I glanced once, then again. He caught me. "Do you like art?" he asked. "I like silence," I said with a smirk. He laughed. "Fair. I'll take that as a no." That's how it started. A few awkward exchanges turned into laughter. Somehow, I found myself telling him about the client pitch. He asked thoughtful questions. He listened. He told me his name was Leo, that he was a freelance artist, that he preferred sketchbooks to screens. When I finally stood to leave, he asked, "Same time tomorrow?" I didn't say yes, but I didn't say no. I didn't plan to return to the coffee shop the next day, but when 8:30 a.m. rolled around, my feet had already taken me halfway there. Maybe it was the way he made me laugh, or maybe it was just the way he looked at me, like I wasn't broken. When I walked in, Leo was already there. Same sketchbook, same table, same hopeful smile. "Back for round 2, he teased. "I had to check if you spilled coffee on all your dates," I replied. He grinned. "Only the special ones." That made me pause. Was this flirting? One morning, coffee turned into 2, then 5, then a whole week. We never exchanged numbers. We just showed up, same time, same table. He'd sketch, and I'd vent about work. He listened. He offered insights I never expected from someone so young. But that's the thing. I kept forgetting how young he actually was. He didn't act like it. He didn't try to impress me or play games. He just showed up as himself. No ego, no agenda, just quiet warmth. After 2 weeks of caffeine-fueled connection, he said, "There's a contemporary art exhibit this Saturday. Want to come with me?" I froze. "This isn't a date, is it?" He tilted his head. "Only if you want it to be." I hesitated. My heart raced. But I heard myself say, "Sure." That Saturday, we walked through abstract paintings and minimalist sculptures. He spoke with passion, like the art breathed life into him. I found myself watching him more than the exhibits. Afterward, we sat on the museum steps. sharing a soft pretzel. "You know what I like about you?" he asked suddenly. I glanced at him. "That I buy my own coffee," he chuckled. "No, it's that you don't pretend. Most people put on a face. You just say what you feel." I didn't know what to say to that. So, I just looked away, hiding the smile that betrayed how much that meant. It happened on a rainy Tuesday. He was telling me a story about a professor who changed his life. I was sipping coffee, laughing at his impersonation when I asked, "How old were you when that happened?" "Oh, that was maybe 5 years ago. I was 20 then, just started university." I blinked. "Wait, you're 25. He nodded, sipping his drink like it was the most normal thing in the world. I felt my stomach drop. "Leo, I'm 35. He looked at me, calm. Okay, that's it." "Yeah, I already knew." I stared at him. "What?" He shrugged. "You mentioned graduating college the year I was in middle school." I did the math. "And that doesn't bother you?" He leaned forward, voice gentle. "Why would it?" "You're not a number, Anna." But I couldn't stop thinking about it. 10 years. He was in kindergarten when I was prepping for college. I saw judgment in places it didn't even exist. Imagined my co-workers whispering, my friends laughing, strangers raising their eyebrows. That night, I stared at my reflection and saw every wrinkle, every fine line. I saw a woman who should know better. I saw the scars from my failed marriage, from choosing wrong before. I texted Leo, "Hey, I think we should slow things down." His reply came instantly. "If that's what you need, I'll wait. Just know, I'm not walking away," and he didn't. My younger sister, Claire, noticed I wasn't myself. We met for lunch that weekend, and she asked what was wrong. I told her everything. About Leo, about our conversations, our chemistry, our age gap. She listened silently, then sighed. "Anna, I know you've been lonely, but you've worked so hard to get your life back together. What if this is just a distraction?" "It doesn't feel like a distraction," I murmured. "Does he even want the same things as you? Kids, stability, retirement plans." I didn't have answers. I only had feelings. And feelings weren't logical. But Claire's words echoed in my head for days. 2 days later, I met Leo again. I hadn't planned to, but he was there, sketching, like always. "Hey," I said, nervous. "Hey," he replied with a soft smile. We didn't talk much, just sat in silence, sipping coffee, listening to the rain hit the window. When I finally stood to leave, he walked with me. At the corner, he stopped and said, "Can I ask you something?" I nodded. "Do you feel it too? Or am I just a kid too?" "You?" My breath caught. "I feel it," I whispered. He leaned in, just slightly, our faces inches apart, but I stepped back. "I'm sorry," I said, tears in my eyes. "I'm scared," he nodded. "I'll wait until you're not." After that day, I stopped going to the coffee shop. I buried myself in work again, picked up overtime, cancelled plans, hid behind spreadsheets and deadlines. But Leo didn't message me. He didn't chase. He respected the space I asked for, and somehow, that made it harder. One evening, after a brutal board meeting, I sat in my car and cried. Not because of work, but because I missed him. I missed the way he looked at me, like I was art. 3 weeks passed. Then one day, I got an email from a local gallery. Subject line, "Emerging artist Leo Merrick debuts first solo exhibition. Perspective." I stared at it, heart pounding. He had invited me without saying a word. That night, I went, not for him. I told myself it was just curiosity. The gallery was packed. His art hung on every wall, vibrant, raw, emotional. One piece stopped me cold. It was a charcoal sketch of a woman at a coffee shop, staring out the window, unaware someone was drawing her. It was me. Title: Stillness. A lump formed in my throat. Then I heard his voice behind me. I was hoping you'd come. I hadn't seen him in almost a month, but there he was, standing behind me, hands in his pockets, trying to act casual, even though his art was literally screaming the feelings he hadn't said out loud. And suddenly, my legs forgot how to stand still. I turned slowly. He looked different, more polished, more confident, but his eyes, they were the same. Still kind, still warm, still Leo. You came, he said softly. I nodded, not trusting my voice. He gestured toward the sketch of me. I drew that after the first week we stopped talking. I'd sit at the coffee shop, hoping you'd come back. And when you didn't, I had to hold on to something. My chest tightened. I never meant to hurt you. I know. We stood in silence. The noise of the gallery, muffled by the pounding, in my ears. You look amazing. I finally managed. He smiled. So do you. People started gathering near the center of the gallery. A woman with a clipboard clinked her glass and said, "Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us for Leo Merrick's debut collection, Perspective." Leo would like to say a few words. Leo looked surprised, but stepped up. He cleared his throat. I won't say much, because most of what I feel is on the walls. But this collection, it started because of one person. He looked right at me. She challenged me, inspired me, scared me, made me believe that love didn't have to look like what people expect. I froze. People were turning toward me. I don't care about numbers. Leo continued. I care about connection, about honesty, about the way someone makes you feel like the world makes sense again. He raised his glass. To Anna. A small gasp escaped my lips. The room clapped. My face flushed. But in that moment, I didn't care who was watching. Later, after the crowd had thinned, Leo found me on the gallery rooftop. City lights sparkled around us. A warm breeze played with my hair. I didn't expect you to say all that, I whispered. I didn't plan to, he said. But seeing, you made me realize I couldn't stay quiet anymore. I hesitated. Leo, I still don't know if I can do this. Because of the age gap. Because I'm scared. I admitted. I've been through hell. I've been used, betrayed, dismissed. I don't want to get attached and then realize you're not ready. He took a step closer. Then let me prove I am. I laughed sadly. You're 25. I'm not asking for forever, Anna. I'm asking for a chance. Our eyes met, and if I fall for you completely, I whispered. He smiled. Then, I'll catch you. And just like that, I did. It wasn't glamorous. No 5-star dinners or candlelit ballrooms. It was pizza, a blanket, and an old projector movie on his apartment wall. He played indie music while we cooked together. Badly. He danced with me in socks on his hardwood floor. He told me stories about his childhood, his dreams, his fears. And when he kissed me, it was slow, gentle, like he was memorizing the moment. That night, I stayed. Not because of lust, but because for the first time in years, I felt safe. He didn't try to fix me. He just held me. And that was enough. The next few weeks were like floating. We saw each other nearly every day. He'd bring me coffee. I'd bring him lunch. We laughed until our cheeks hurt. We cried during sad movies. We made love like we were the only two people on Earth. But the world didn't stop for our bubble. One evening, Claire called again. I saw your Instagram, she said flatly. I knew what was coming. Anna, this guy is 10 years younger. What happens when you want kids? When you're ready to settle and he's still figuring things out, I'm not asking him for forever, I said. But what if he asks you for it? I had no answer. Then Leo's parents invited us for dinner. I wore a modest dress, practiced small talk, tried to seem appropriate. But his mother? She saw right through it. Over dessert, she asked, "So, do you see this going long term?" Leo squeezed my hand under the table. I smiled. I don't know what the future holds, but I know I care about your son deeply. His father stayed quiet. His mother nodded politely, but I felt it, the chill. The pressure built slowly. One night I came home late after a work crisis. I forgot our date. Leo waited over an hour outside my building. When I finally arrived, he looked hurt. I get it, you're busy. But if you didn't want to come, you could have just told me, I snapped. I didn't forget because I don't care, Leo. I forgot because I'm exhausted. My life isn't flexible like yours. He flinched. So now I'm some childish artist with no responsibilities. I didn't say that, but you meant it. Silence. He turned to leave, then paused. Maybe we're not in the same place after all. The door closed behind him, and just like that, the warmth vanished. Days passed. No texts, no calls. I checked his Instagram. No updates. My apartment felt colder than ever. At work, I snapped at my assistant. At home, I stared at our photos and hated how empty my life felt again. One night, I walked past the coffee shop. He wasn't there. I sat alone in our old spot, tears soaking into my scarf. Why did I push him away? Was I really that scared of being loved? A week later, I received a letter. No sender address, just my name. Inside was a sketch. It was me again, but older. Laughing, holding hands with a child. Leo was beside me. On the back, it said, "Age is the least interesting thing about you. Leo." And below that, "Still waiting, but only if you still feel it too." My heart shattered and reformed at once. I stood in front of his building, breath fogging in the cold night. I rang the bell. He opened the door in sweats, barefoot, eyes wide. "I missed you," I said before he could speak. He stepped aside. I walked in. "I don't know how to make this perfect," I whispered, "but I want to try." He pulled me close. "I don't need perfect. I just need you." We didn't dive back into love like nothing happened. We waded in, slowly, carefully, like the ocean might be different this time. And maybe it was. After that night, everything softened. We talked, really talked, about what we wanted, about the fears I had been too proud to admit, about the uncertainty he hadn't wanted to burden me with. Leo listened, and more importantly, he stayed. One morning, as we lay tangled in sheets and light, I asked, "Are you scared?" He looked at me and said, "Yeah, but I'm more scared of living a life that doesn't include you." Something in me cracked, so I did something brave. I held his hand in public. I told my sister we were serious. I changed my relationship status, online, for the first time since my divorce. Was it all sunshine and roses? No. The comments came. "She's robbing the cradle. He's just using her for experience. He'll leave when he gets bored." But Leo, he printed one of the worst ones out, framed it ironically, and put it on his desk. Every time we walked past it, he'd say, "To the haters who wrote our love story better than we did." It came out of nowhere. I was late. My stomach turned at the smell of eggs. My heart raced at the thought. At 35, I'd written motherhood off years ago. Leo noticed something was wrong and asked gently, "Want to talk about it?" I handed him the unopened test. He blinked, then looked at me. "Do you want it to be positive?" I didn't answer. He took my hand. "We'll figure it out together." The test was negative. I cried in the bathroom. Not because I wanted a baby, but because I didn't realize how much I wanted options. Leo held me all night. He didn't say anything cheesy like, "Next time." He just whispered, "I love you." 6 months in, we went to a friend's wedding, one of Leo's college buddies. Everyone was 20-something, tipsy, wild. I stood at the open bar, feeling out of place in a sea of glitter and shots. A girl in a silk dress leaned over and slurred, "Are you Leo's mom?" The world went quiet. I laughed politely. "No, I'm his girlfriend." Her eyes went wide. She stumbled off. I didn't say anything until the ride home. Then I broke. Tears, shame, insecurity. I looked ridiculous, didn't I? Leo pulled over. "Anna, I don't care what anyone says. You're the most stunning woman I've ever known. And if some drunk 22-year-old doesn't get that, who cares?" He kissed my forehead and added, "Besides, you age like fine wine. I'll be lucky to keep up with you." One Sunday morning, Leo made pancakes. He kept looking at me like he was hiding something. Finally, he pulled out a little box. "Not a ring, but a key. To my place," he said. "I want you to move in." I laughed. "That's not a proposal." He grinned. "Nope, that comes later. I want to live together first. See if you can handle me snoring." I said yes, and for the first time in years, home felt like a place, not a pause between heartbreaks. Of course, the past wasn't done with me yet. One morning, I got a message. Mark, my ex-husband. He was in town and wanted to catch up. I ignored it. Then he showed up at my office. "I heard you're dating a kid now." He smirked. I stood tall. A man, one who doesn't lie, or cheat, or make me feel small. He chuckled. "Cute. When he dumps you, call me." I smiled sweetly. "You'll be dead before I ever do." When I told Leo, he didn't puff his chest or act macho. He just asked, "Do you feel okay?" I nodded. Then he said, "Good, because that guy doesn't get to live in your head anymore." One evening, we sat on the couch watching a documentary about climate change. Randomly, Leo asked, "Where do you see yourself in 10 years?" I paused. I used to think I'd be married with 2 kids, but now, I just want peace, a garden, maybe a dog. He smiled. "Can I be there?" I kissed his shoulder. "Only if you walk the dog." He hesitated. "What if I want kids?" "Someday." I turned to him. "Do you?" "I don't know, but I want options too." And there it was again. That difference. He had time. I didn't. So we talked. Honestly. Gently. We agreed to revisit the topic in a year. No pressure. No ultimatums. Just love. Right now. One morning, I collapsed at work. Stress. Dehydration. Hormonal imbalance. Leo rushed to the ER. When I woke up, he was beside me, holding my hand like it was the only thing keeping him sane. "I thought I lost you," he whispered. "I'm fine. Don't say that when you passed out in front of a client." I smiled weakly. "Do you still want the dog?" He laughed through tears. "Only if you name him Pancake." We laughed, cried, then laughed again. He didn't leave my side for 2 days. On our 1-year anniversary, I woke up to a handwritten letter. It said, "Anna, I didn't fall in love with your age. I fell in love with your silence, your stillness, your resilience. I fell in love with the way you challenge the world and yourself. I fell in love with how you love me, even when you don't say it. So here's my promise. I won't run. I won't hide. I'll grow older with you, whether that means side by side or from behind as I catch up. I love you, Leo," I cried. Then I wrote him one back. A year had passed, and the world hadn't collapsed. We still had laundry days, traffic jams, bad takeout, inside jokes. But underneath the mundane was something rare. Love that chose us daily. Not because we were the same age or came from the same world, but because when we looked at each other, we felt safe. We were on the balcony, drinking tea. The city buzzed beneath us, but we were quiet. Leo broke the silence. "Anna, I've been thinking about kids again." My heart paused. "You don't have to answer now," he added quickly. "But I want to be honest. It's been on my mind." I exhaled. I had a scare, remember? Back then I was terrified. Not because I didn't want to be a mom, but because I wasn't sure I'd be enough. You are. I'm older, Leo. Even if I try now, it might not happen. He took my hand. Then we try. And if it doesn't work, we find other dreams. Together. And just like that, he reminded me we were a team. Not perfect, but real. One afternoon, I got a call. It was a creative agency in London. Big name, big money. They'd seen my latest campaign and wanted me as a senior strategist. It was the kind of offer I used to dream about, only now. Dreams had shifted. Told Leo. He smiled. "That's amazing. You have to go, just like that. You have to go see if it's what you really want. What if it's not? Then come back." I stared at him. "You'd let me leave." He held my face. "I'd never let you do anything, but I'd support anything that helps you grow." Tears welled up. He was right. So I went. London was beautiful, busy, loud, important, but also lonely. We talked every night, sent selfies, watched movies together on video call, made countdowns. But there were hard moments. Nights I missed his warmth, days he forgot to call. Once, I saw him tagged in a photo with a girl at an art fair. My stomach twisted. Texted him. "Who's that?" He called instantly. "She's a gallery owner. Chill. You're still the one I draw every day." I laughed, embarrassed, but also relieved. 6 weeks in, he surprised me. Showed up in my London flat with flowers, bagels, and a smile. "I missed your face," he said. "I missed your mess," I replied. We spent 3 days wrapped in London rain and each other, and when he left I knew. I didn't need London to feel important anymore. I turned down the job. People thought I was crazy. "You gave up London for love?" One friend asked. "No, I gave up London because I'd already found what I was looking for, and it wasn't a title. It was Leo, home us." It took almost 2 years, but I finally brought him home. My parents were wary. My mother kept asking, "So what are your long-term plans?" Leo smiled politely. "To love your daughter the best I can, for as long as she lets me." Even my father smiled at that. That night, as we drove home, I asked, "You okay?" Leo nodded. "I think they're warming up." "Really?" He laughed. "Your dad asked if I liked whiskey. That's a good sign, right?" We were walking our rescue dog. Yes, we finally got Pancake. When Leo stopped suddenly. "No pressure, but if I asked you to marry me, would you say yes?" I blinked. "Now?" He smiled. "Hypothetically." Then hypothetically. Yes, we laughed, and the dog barked like he approved. There was no big ring, no kneeling, but there was love, peace, decision. We got married a few months later in a garden with 10 people and no hashtags. I wore a pale blue dress. He wore sneakers. We read our own vows and cried. A lot. 3 years passed. Leo turned 28. I turned 38, and it didn't matter. We celebrated every birthday with more love, not less. We didn't have kids. We talked about it sometimes, but life felt full without them. Instead, we traveled, painted murals, adopted another dog named Biscuit. He taught art workshops. I started mentoring young women in marketing, and every night we came home to the same thing: laughter, quiet, love. One afternoon, we visited the old coffee shop, the one where it all started. It had new owners, a new vibe, but the window seat was still there. Leo pointed. "Remember?" I nodded, tears in my eyes. "I remember being scared to love you. I remember knowing I already did." We sat, ordered coffee. An older couple walked past and smiled at us. And for the first time in years, I didn't feel self-conscious, because I wasn't trying to prove anything anymore. Not about age, not about love, not about worth. Love didn't ask our birth years. It didn't care about calendars or timelines or opinions. It showed up on a rainy day in a coffee shop, with quiet eyes and a sketchbook. And it stayed. Through every doubt, every storm, every birthday candle, 10 years apart, but always side by side. Time. It had been our loudest critic. 10 years apart. He'll change. She'll age. But here's the thing about love. It doesn't live on clocks. It lives in moments, in memories, in the gentle ritual of choosing one another every single day. And that's what we did. We built a life not defined by time, but by choice. Somewhere, deep in my old drawer, there's a letter I wrote to myself. I was 30, alone, scared, divorced. It said, "Don't trust love anymore. It lies. It fades. It hurts." I never sent it, but I kept it, like a scar that hadn't healed yet. One rainy afternoon, I found it again. Leo walked in as I was reading it, eyes misty. "What's that?" he asked. "A promise I made to never love again." He raised an eyebrow. I folded it and tossed it into the fire. "I've changed my mind." It was a Tuesday, ordinary. I had a mild pain in my chest that wouldn't go away. I figured it was stress. Wasn't. It was a benign tumor, operable, not life-threatening, but scary enough to freeze me. I didn't want to tell Leo at first, but he noticed something was off. When I finally broke the news, he didn't panic. He didn't say all the right things. He just held me, made soup, laughed at silly TV shows with me while we waited for results. He was present. The day of surgery, I woke up to him sketching me again, head wrapped in a scarf, IV in my arm. "You're still the most beautiful thing I've ever drawn," he whispered. Wept, not out of fear, but love, because I had never felt more seen. Years passed. Leo turned 31. I turned 41. By now, the age gap was a whisper. We both had wrinkles. He found his first grey hair and freaked out. I laughed for 10 minutes straight, got busier with his art studio. I transitioned to part-time consulting, and on quiet nights, we'd read, sometimes to each other, sometimes with our feet touching under a blanket and the fire humming low. People used to say we were too different, but we had become mirrors, reflecting what the other lacked, then slowly absorbing it. One morning, I saw him sketching in the backyard, a little girl with big eyes and curly hair. He caught my gaze. "I know we said we were okay without kids, but if there's still time, maybe we could adopt." I sat beside him. "You'd make a great dad. You'd make a real home." The process wasn't easy. The paperwork, the wait, the nerves. But after 18 months, we met her, Maya, 6 years old, bright, shy, brilliant. She called me Anna at first, then Mama. She called Leo Dad the very next week. And just like that, time gave us another chance. Raising a child changes everything, but it didn't ruin us. It rooted us. We fought about screen time, bedtime, vegetables. We laughed at bath time disasters and preschool artwork. Some nights we were too exhausted to talk. Others, we stayed up late just holding hands under the table, listening to her sleep. Leo was patient. I was protective. Together, we became steady. Not perfect, but deeply, beautifully whole. We were invited to a relationship podcast. The host wanted to talk about unconventional love. Leo smirked. Isn't all love unconventional? They asked us how we survived the doubt, the criticism, the whispers. I said, we didn't just survive. We bloomed in spite of it. The episode went viral. People messaged us. Strangers, mostly. Older, women dating younger men in love with older women, same-age couples, struggling with the same fears. They said things like, "You made me believe again. Thank you for showing us it's possible." I finally introduced him to my parents, and for the first time, I felt seen not as someone who broke the rules, but someone who helped rewrite them. On our 10th anniversary, Leo planned something secret. He blindfolded me and drove us out of town. We ended up in a garden, a replica of the one we married in. This time, Maya was there, older now, with her own camera and spark. He stood there, flowers in hand. "I know we said vows 10 years ago," he began, "but I've got new ones." He pulled out a tiny sketchbook. Each page was a vow, with a drawing, a vow to keep laughing at my jokes, even when they weren't funny, a vow to hold my hand in every waiting room, a vow to be the calm in every storm. I cried through all of it, then surprised him with vows of my own. We danced under fairy lights, barefoot, with Maya twirling around us like magic. We never got a mansion, we never won the lottery, but we had midnight ice cream runs, Saturday morning pancakes, inside jokes about bad movies, fights over thermostat settings, soft music while folding laundry, love notes tucked into lunch boxes, and when I look back now, I don't remember the critics. I remember his eyes across the coffee shop, the way he said, "You're my person," at 25, and again at 35, and still at 45. Time didn't steal anything from us. It gave us room to grow, together. Love didn't knock loudly. It sat quietly at a corner table, waiting for me to notice. And once I did, it never left. We were 10 years apart, but we arrived at the same place, side by side, coffee in hand, hearts wide open. Thanks for watching. Hoped you liked it. If you watched till the end, please comment "end" so that we could understand you were with us till the end. As well as, please let us know, where are you watching from? Before leaving, please hit the subscribe button, comment your thought, and share with your nearest and dearest one. See you in the next one. Until to the next one, spread love.